And so the last thing I want to do is I want to put together a visualization for our client, and I want to let them know how many times that these regression analysis over the past showed us when it was less than $1,000 mean absolute difference between the prediction and the actual sales. So I'm going to put a factor in there for 1, because that will be my $1,000, because remember this is in thousands of dollars. Let's drag down our cities, because I am going to do a Countif statement. So let's start out. So I want to Countif the range. So I want to grab anything out of this range here. And let's go, I'm going to hit F4, put the dollar signs in, so that way that city is set. And so the criteria on that is going to be Phoenix. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in another range and criteria. So we're going to have multiple criteria. So we don't want to use a Countif statement. We want to do Countifs, because we are going to want more than one criteria. So let's add in the second criteria, which is going to be this absolute error range. That should pop up as absolute error to lock in. And now I want to say that if that's less than or equal to 1, so I have to build the equation. So I'm going to use quotation marks and say less than equal to quotation. So what that does is that drops in that text. You can put a space in, you don't need to. Ampersand, that is so we can tie a cell to it. And that cell is going to be this guy right here. We'll hit F4 to lock him in too. We'll close the parentheses and see what it does. So that now has gone through and counted all the times that our mean absolute error was less than or equal to $1,000. And let's give that a percentage. So we're going to divide that by count, and we're just going to count the number of absolute error values that we have. And so that tells us 25% of the time. But that's not right, because we need to count only the Phoenix. So that was the wrong way to go about doing it. So let's change that to a Countif statement. And so what I want to do is that we're going to count, let me just completely blow this away. So the range is going to be, do I want to do it that way? Yes, we're just going to count the cities. And we're only going to, we will lock that in, but we only want to count the cities that are Phoenix. And there we go. And so that tells us 50% of the time where this equation is less than $1,000 off. So let's do the same thing for San Francisco. We're just going to drag these down. Let's see if those worked. And so everything did. So we locked it in. We're still looking at Phoenix. We're still looking here. So the only thing that changed was our city. And so 33% of the time our equation was within that. So why don't we go and we can put together a chart. So let's go to, and I'm going to select insert. Let's go make a pie chart, a 2D pie chart, and select data. We're going to edit this, and the series name, we'll call this one Phoenix. I'll actually delete all of that. We will call that Phoenix. Oh yeah, sorry, the name is there. And then our data, we'll just choose the 50%. Oh, and that's just going to show a 1. I don't want it to do that. So let's go out and let's do this a little bit differently. Let us make another variable so we can actually do the percentages. And so that one should be pretty easy. And so we'll just do a yes, no. Yes being, was it within 1,000? No being, it was not. And so we'll come here and we will copy, do a paste special here, and I'm going to transpose it, and then put San Francisco and Phoenix going right there. So how many times did it come out to be Phoenix? Well, that means 12. And San Francisco, that is going to be 8 times that it did. Now, if we go back through and count the data to know what the totals are, we can see that we have 24 data points for each one because it's over 2 years. So we can count if that, but we don't really need to. And so we can say that, why don't we set it up as that? So we're going to do a Countif, and I will count if this range, if that is equal to, not equal to, the criteria is going to be, I want you to count it if it is, I gotta just drag this down here, count it if it is Phoenix, and if it is, then I want you to subtract from that this other one here. So that counts the total number of Phoenixes and subtracts how many times it was within 1,000. And we'll do the same thing with San Francisco. Let's just lock in our city count. And then I should just be able to drag that right over. Okay, and 16 times it's not. So now let's go and we're going to put in our pie charts. We'll do Phoenix first. So insert pie chart, 2D pie chart. So I picked it up, and we've got 1s and 2s. Let us change that a little bit because I don't want it to be 1s and 2s. I want it to be yeses and nos. So we're going to edit that category, and we want those to be our labels. And there we go. So yes and no. Chart title, we'll call this Phoenix. Let's see if I spelled it right this time. No, I still spelled it incorrectly. That's OE. So we have Phoenix. We have a pie chart showing that it is 50% and 50%. We can go and we can sit here. Once again, there's all the stuff that we can play with. I'm just going to leave it like that. We can insert text boxes and say, this is 50%, this is 50%. You can always go to one of the pre-made ones where it will give you all the different things. Let's go with, I usually don't, even though I like this one, I don't like using gray as a background because I don't want to print that into a report. Why don't we go with that one there? So there we go. Yes, no, 50-50, all good. Let's do the same thing with San Francisco. And so insert a pie chart. And so there we go. We're going to do the same things here. So I want to select the data because I want to edit my horizontal category and make it a yes, no thing. And I'm going to change this to, normally I would type this out as San Francisco, but everywhere we used SF, and I want to be consistent. So there's SF, and I will come here, I will use the same format. Then, so when I use this one here, it's what put the numbers in, and so now after, when I select one, it'll throw the numbers in automatically. Otherwise, you have to go through the format charts to do it. Okay, and so we could sit there and we could, show these charts. We can label them, because this is going to show us what? What is this going to show us? This is going to show us how many times their MAE was less than $1,000. We'd probably want to put that as a note on here or something, but this is pretty good where we're at. We might also would want to insert these as text box that maybe give the MAE, and actually let's do that with one of them. So let's make it a new sheet, and we can do the same thing with Phoenix, or excuse me, the same thing with San Francisco. And so we can come in here and play with the label options, and we've got the number. We can format it however we want, place what's going down. We can play with size and alignment of the text, and what I wanted to do is, it's not going to let me change the height of I can go through here and find changing the height of the text, but that's something that we can just all find on our own. And let's get out of the format shape. We can go put in a text box here, and we can give the information, say MAE is equal to $1,075. Take that, make that bold, so that way everybody can look at it and know what that is. And there we go. So we can Phoenix percentage of time, percentages of MAEs less than $1,000. Excuse me. This is not the MAEs because that would be the mean absolute error. This would be percentage of the time that the absolute error is less than $1,000. Percentage of absolute, I'm trying to think of a better way to say that, that are less than $1,000. There we go. And so we can do the same thing for San Francisco. I'm not going to work through that. I'm sure that everybody can figure that out. It's just a slightly different graph. Okay, and that is the end of this problem. This is a big long one that we've gone through. I hope everybody stayed up with it. If you have questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I will talk to you next time.